I just drove my lifted truck across America, and my truck is an 8-inch lifted Dodge Ram on 38-inch tires. A gasser on 38s, driving 6,000 kilometers. How much do you think that costed me in gas money? How many things do you think broke on the entire journey? You gotta watch this video to find out.
And don't miss out on the insane burnout compilation.
This all started when I found out about lifted truck nationals. If you don't know, the truck scene in Canada is nothing like it is in America. 2 days before I left, a bunch of shit started breaking on my truck. My caliper was seasoned up, my wheel bearing was absolutely fucked. We were rushing to get my Starlight headliner done just in time to show it off. I had a couple of friends of mine say to me, Mitchell, don't you think this is a sign that you shouldn't go on this road trip? And I said, no. This is happening to me now, so the rest of my journey is gonna be 100% problem free. Got my truck fixed up just in time, sprayed some tire shine on my tires, and she was good to go, looking absolutely mint. So day number 1 of driving, I made it to Kansas City, which was about 13 hours. On day 1, I took a short little video snippet of the fuel pump every single time that I had to fuel up.
Last fill of the day right now. We're in some fucking sketchy ass town in Missouri right now.
And day 1 alone, I ended up spending 515 Canadian dollars on fuel. So we were off to a hot start. While I was in Kansas City, I went to a place called NSK Customs, which is a custom shop where they do lifts and all sorts of custom shit to make badass trucks. Reason I went to this place is because I needed to put on my spacers. Where I live here in Canada, if you have your tires sticking out past the body, the cops will come after your ass, you'll get VIU'd, you gotta change shit back to stock.
Sir, you're under arrest. You have way too much stance on this vehicle.
This shop in Kansas City, Missouri was absolutely amazing. Not only did they have 2 of the craziest builds I've personally seen in my life at this point in time, they threw my spacers on and my shit was rubbing like a motherfucker. And they were more than happy to cut the truck up for me to ensure that I could actually turn. At this point in time, I fell in love with my truck all over again. It was fatter than I've ever seen it before, and I was absolutely stoked about my new look. And I didn't give 2 shits that I could barely turn with this thing. Seeing that tire poke was all worth it to me. While in Kansas City, I stopped in at about 3 other custom shops, went in there, and I was like, you haven't seen this shit before, look at this, because the world needs Adrenaline Off-Road's products. So day 2, my truck's looking fat as shit, and I'm ready to roll down to Lifted Truck Nationals. But as soon as I rolled into this place, I realized that this was pretty much heaven to me. I'd never seen builds of this caliber in my life. 30-inch wheels, 44-inch boggers, cue Lifted Truck Nationals montage.
And on the last day of the meet, the town was like, come on down and do your best burnout right on Main Street. So this is what happened.
And I 100% plan on going back to this meet next year. So if you want to meet me, see the truck, say what's up, be at Lifted Truck Nationals in 2023. This meet went on for 3 days total, and I left on the 3rd day and started my journey down to good old Texas. I kept on filming the gas pump every time I had to fill up and get fuel. So at this point, I was at just outside of Dallas. I got to meet up with my boy Braxton. Adrenaline sponsored Braxton 3 years ago in 2019 with some wheelites, and to this day, he is still running that shit.
So the next stop in Texas was Dallas.
I got to meet my good buddy Noel there, customer of Adrenaline Off-Roads, and he has a sick ass 5th gen Ram that was actually in SEMA in 2019. And he's running our Quadro chasing wheelites. And little did I know heading down here that Noel actually owns a bunch of bars down there. And what happens when you walk into these bars with the owner? You get a fuck ton of free drinks just thrown at you, and you get drunk a little bit too fucking fast, which nonetheless makes for a great time. I hung out in Dallas a few days, and by the time I was ready to leave Dallas, my total fuel bill was approximately And one thing I was starting to notice is that the farther south that I got, the cheaper that fuel became. In Dallas, I also saw some other crazy builds. One in particular was on 58-inch tires. Absolutely insane build. The lift was probably like 7 feet tall. I couldn't imagine how much this build would have costed. The next stop on my list was Austin, Texas. Austin was awesome. I rented a jet ski on the Colorado River, had an absolute blast. I cannot believe how warm the water is, and the heat there absolutely blew my mind. It was 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is plus 38 Celsius every single day. And let me tell you, it never gets that hot where we live. The hottest it's ever gotten in the last 3 years is like plus 36. Meanwhile, everyone's like, oh, you should be here in summer. It's plus 115. Not coming back in summer. And I went to this really cool place called Oasis where you just sit there and you have a badass view of the water while you're munching on some food, seen some fucking zebras, and then it was time to go down to Houston. I stopped at my last list of shops in Houston, totaling 21 shops that I went to with our products, trying to grow Adrenaline Off-Road as much as I fucking can. And then the final day of my journey, I made it all the way down to Galveston Beach, Galveston Island, right on the ocean, right on the south of Texas. And that place by far had my favorite vibe of the entire journey I went on. And my favorite part by far was that I was able to drive my truck on the beach, right beside the ocean, back right up to the ocean and go for a swim. I've always wanted to drive my truck on the beach by the ocean, and I had no idea I was gonna be able to do it here until I actually got there, and I was stoked. At this point in the journey, I was feeling very high on life and pretty damn content with my journey so far. And from there was really nowhere else I could go except for up. The shaking in the truck was getting a little bit worse. One of the wheel weights inside of the wheel actually came off of the driver's side, so wheels weren't properly balanced, which made sense why it was shaking. Stopped in Lufkin, Texas, met one of my lifetime customers there, Scott, who actually has the same Ram as me, but stock. It gave me a great perspective of how far my build has actually came to this day. So if you ever get the chance, find a stock version of your truck and park next to that shit and take a picture. And my total for kilometers when I got home to my driveway was 6,023 kilometers. Total cost of fuel to drive my 8 mile to the gallon truck over 6,000 kilometers was approximately $2,500. 10 out of 10, worth every fucking penny, for sure, without a doubt. This trip was an absolute win because nothing severe broke on the truck and it actually made it home. No problem.
See you guys next time.